Welcome to our first interview in our collaboration with Strong Women, Strange Worlds. Get ready to dive into the enchanting world of storytelling with an award-winning author. Our guest today knows how to weave epic fantasies that resonate with readers across genres, from the Relic trilogy to the Merge series and to the supernatural detective agency. Her tales take us on exhilarating adventures where the slightly familiar meets the entirely unique. With a background in research science and programming, our guest's journey into storytelling is as twisty as the plots in her novel. Balancing the role of wife, mom, and pet wrangler, she immerses herself in crafting sci-fi and fantasy worlds that tantalize readers, drawing inspiration from the likes of Dungeons and Dragons and the Dresden Files. That's so great. Her third book in the Merge series came out in April. The series premise is one where the human world collides with the realm of myth, unleashing enchantment, danger, and secrets. It couldn't be any better. Ordinary individuals become extraordinary heroes, navigating treacherous paths and confronting inner demons to preserve the delicate balance between reality and myth. Sounds amazing, right? Yeah, it does. We're excited for a conversation filled with magic, mystery, and unforgettable characters. And so we welcome to our podcast, Claudia Blood. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm so glad to be here.
Excellent. Is there anything else that you would like to add to that biography?
I don't know most authors, but writing author biography is worse than writing a trilogy. Like from a writing perspective, I think a lot of people really feel like that. So nope, I don't have anything to add.
Excellent. I nailed it. So we always start our podcasts with authors with the same question, which is, how or when did you know that you wanted to be a writer?
I think I followed the beginning of my journey was, most little kids, they want to be writers. And so I got my little sister, because I didn't actually like to write. She had a white pad and I dictated the story to her. It was a Dungeons and Dragons fantasy thing with an epic battle and whatever else. And I think she's finally forgiven me for that. And then you know how life kind of comes. And so you talk about wanting to be a writer, but you never make time for it. And suddenly you have that significant birthday and you kind of look around and go, if I'm going to make this happen, I need to make it happen. And so I hit that birthday and I'm like, okay, it's on. I'm going to put it above the fold. I'm going to drop all these other things and I'm going to make it happen. And that's where it started actually happening. So I finished stories with short stories. I finished my first novel. It just, kind of snowballed from there.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. But you went to college for something entirely different, right?
Biology. I have a biology degree. Yep. I was a cardiovascular research associate for a number of years and yep. And then moved into IT, was a Java developer and did implementations, wrote code for years and years. Did some business analysis. Yep.
So were you working at the same time you were writing your novels, or were you able to? Okay.
Yep. I also had kids at that point, and so you kind of, unfortunately, I think this is going to sound, but I think as women, we also have to be like, we feel like we have to be uber responsible. And so not only do we have to like work our dreams, but we have to do the day job as well to make things meet. So
yeah. It is hard too when you have that dual life. You're trying to do one thing, with raising your family and being with your kids, and on the other hand, you have this drive and need to actually write and put things on the page, which is kind of blend.
And there's so much guilt too. I don't know about you guys. You feel like every time I step away and I'm like, okay, I just need 2 hours to do whatever this is. And then I feel guilty, like, well, I should be spending it with the kids and I should. So yeah.
But it's something is like your mental health too. I mean, I don't know about for you, but for me, writing fills that void for me where, it just calms me down and it's just my escape from the stress of life sometimes.
Yep.
And so even though you feel guilty, you just kind of have to work with, I'm going to be a better mom just because I am feeling better about myself.
Yep.
It's nice.
Yep. So any moms out there, that is totally true. Yep.
Totally agree. It quiets the voices in my head that are telling me, go right, go right, go right. So it's like, no, it's going to be better after I was telling you.
But especially if you write a horror or a mystery.
Not good. But so the whole time because I'm a biologist too, like I study biology in college. Now, did you take classes in creative writing while you were there? Did you take, or anything at all? Or were you just like, no,
I
writing is
took
like,
one class. I mean, it's one of those, like, I didn't feel like I could let myself be a writer at that point. Like, I needed a career. I needed to support myself. Being an artist wasn't the thing that was allowed, you know. So I took every now and again, I took a class and loved them, right? I mean, I absolutely loved them, but it wasn't, I'm like, I don't think I can support myself as a creative writer. Not that biology was much better. I didn't realize that, but
So
I know what you
was
mean.
At the Cabin, was that the first book you ever completed?
it was.
Okay.
I had a number of different partially completed manuscripts, and at the cabin, I got so frustrated with myself. I decided I was going to write just the novel with no sci-fi or fantasy elements.
Okay.
And so I finally finished it and I read it and I hated it. And I
Oh,
rewrote it with the fantasy elements. And I was like, I added a doppelganger. Ooh, play I didn't write. And demons and a doppelganger and, you know, a hidden witch. I mean, you might as well have those things in there. And then I was like, yes, I found my plays.
we talked about that too as fic writers, that you set out to write, like, I don't know, like a normal romance, and all of a sudden it's like, and then the witch came. It's like, whoa, no, that can't happen. Like, yeah, no, we just can't. We can't help ourselves.
Yeah.
Tried to do that as well, and I was like, that's what I read. That's how that book came about, At the Cabin. You know, that you had, you know, written it as a, was it a suspense, mystery
Yep.
suspense
Yep. Just a
originally?
straight
And
mystery suspense. Yep.
right, and then you added all these mystical elements, and I was like, I totally, I get that.
Totally.
Like, I get it. I
Yep.
can't. Yeah.
There's always something mysterious and paranormal that happens at some point.
At some point, especially in a cabin in the woods.
I know, right?
I know, and there's arson
something.
in that one, and like all sorts of crazy things go on. So it's
Oh my
like,
gosh.
yeah,
But
it's taken it.
I heard you say the
Anyway,
magic word of that you have books that are not completed. So how did
oh,
that go? Like, how was your journey into this? So like you started writing books that you never completed.
I still have books that I haven't completed. I still have 5 books, I think, that I haven't completed that are on my hard drive. That it's like my TBR almost, right? Like it's too my TB right. And I might circle back to some of them. And I have some other ideas that are started, but the topic is so close to my heart that I want to be the best writer that I can be
Yeah.
before I write it. Like I don't feel like I'm a good enough writer yet, which is so silly because we're as good as we are at that moment in time and you just keep writing, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I know what you mean. There are some books that I've started that I've said, like, I need more of something, you know, like something in my background to be able to finish this one. So I can totally see that. But did you start them and then stop and then start another one? Like, how many do you have before you finally completed that one book?
Oh my goodness. Because I've actually gone back and written the Relic trilogy was a half started book. The Book of Secrets was a half started book.
Nice.
Even Ravine, that the book in Renegades Rising, that first one, I had all these scenes kind of scattered around, and I'm like, and I thought they were in a different book, and I ripped them out and put them aside and said, okay, that's a separate book.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
yeah.
love that. I love that. And then once you finish that book, that first book, of course
Mhm.
you're overjoyed because you finally typed the end. Know that feeling is awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have a critique partner? Do you have beta readers? How does that all work for you?
Yep. I have beta readers that I use. And honestly, because this has been going on for a little while, they all got busy. And I was like, now I'm looking for more beta readers. I know. And it's such a niche talent to have, to be able to read that incomplete manuscript, not be bothered by grammar, because those things are not necessarily good, and be able to say, dude, this character's flat, or hey, what happened? Like suddenly the dog disappeared. And I had that happen At the Cabin, where they're like, so there was this dog in the beginning, and then you didn't talk about it for like 10 chapters. I'm like, oh no, teleporting dog.
Oh,
It's fictional.
he's actually an
In the
alien
woods
and he had to go
somewhere.
back.
Exactly.
Oh
That's
my God.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then once you go through the edits with your critique partners and everything, so tell us more about your decision to either self-publish, trad publish, query agent, like
Yep.
how did that all come about for you?
So I did go to an RWA meeting way back when, and I did actually get a request to submit from doing one of their pitches, and it was Book of Secrets as a romance. And it was later that I realized that, yeah, no, it was not a romance. No, it was not a romance. But I have a number of friends who had been traditionally published that were not happy with how it had gone through, and the things that they cited as being points of frustration for them, I recognize would be points of frustration for me. Not that traditional publishing isn't great for, certain people, that not saying that at all, but the lack of control of certain things, I think would have bothered me. And so I didn't even try after that. I decided I'm going indie, and so great, I got all the decisions, but oh no, I got all the decisions.
Well, and
Yeah.
especially since you write from like different genres as well. So, if you have
Right.
a traditional publisher who wanted a specific genre and you have to force yourself into that, when you may want to have, you're doing urban fantasy and then you're also doing,
Right.
so you have this variety and it's hard to kind of put yourself in a little box and okay, I
Yep.
have to only write this because
Right.
I'm
I
like
have to write
contracted
this
to do
next
this.
book. Yep. This is the next book. And sometimes the book isn't ready, like you were talking about earlier. Like there's something just, I haven't had the right experience or haven't thought of the right thing. And so I know if I start to write it, I will stare at the screen.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you don't
There's nothing
write.
worse.
Yes.
So, so do you have like a specific editor that you go to and have them edit your book after you finish writing it? I mean, what is your process like for the editing?
Yep. So I actually have a developmental editor that I use, Dawn Alexander, and I love her, love, love, love her. I just went to her with the idea of Scale of the Dragon. Um, you know how sometimes your ideas get twisted in your head? Well, I had 3 books twisted up in my head. And so we had a long conversation and kind of, separated out. And I realized, oh, this goes over here, and this goes over here, and this goes over here. And then it was much better. And she's also sometimes my sanity check when you get through the manuscript and you're like, okay, this isn't working. Like, what am I doing wrong? I'm too close to this. Please just tell me what the heck is going on. And inevitably she'll tell me, I don't have enough emotion and there's not enough stakes in this section over here. And I'm like, okay, and then we'll go back and fix it. And then once it actually goes through those editing, I do have also a copy editor, a proof editor, and then like another friend who goes through and reads it before I'm going to publish it. Yep.
I love the fact that you can talk to your developmental editor about your idea and how to implement it. Like it's not just she's looking at the story and editing it for you, that you can actually just kind of walk through
Yeah.
what you need to walk through in order to figure out how to write the plot. And I mean, that's pretty cool. I didn't
And
realize
she's
that.
so cool. Oh yeah, and she's amazing because she'll even be like, okay, well, I could see 3 ways to play this. Let's talk through all 3 and see what you like. And sometimes we come up with a 4th.
Oh
And then
wow.
I'm like, ooh, do this. Yeah.
So it's kind of like having an agent, because I think that's what my agent was doing at the same time before it actually. It's kind of the
Yeah.
same role. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to tear apart your writing process here, so get ready. So, how many hours a day do you dedicate to writing? And like, do you have like like some people just do something every single time that they write down at their computer to get them started, So like what's your writing process like?
Um, it's a little chaotic. It's a little chaotic. I'm actually trying something new. I'm trying something called For the Words, which is an online gamification for writing. And so I've kind of decided that sometimes I just sit and stare at the screen. And so I'm also doing, the morning pages. There was a book a while ago about sort of mental health and that sort of thing. And so writing 5 pages in the morning. So what I'm doing is whenever it happens, I'm doing 5 pages on For the Words, and inevitably I'll get like the little like snippet of a scene that comes to me, and then I'll switch documents and start writing that. Yep.
Wait, so
And
what
then
is
and
this
then
for?
it's
I'm
called
not
It's the
sure.
word number 4, thewords.com. And
And what do
it's
you,
you log in and it's so silly. I mean, it's so fun and so silly. Like you have little monsters that you kill, like little quests, and you like buy yourself hats and like little like it's so silly and fun. And so, but I like streaks, and so it keeps track of your streak. And I'm on like 45 days, and then like give you different wings with the days that you have. And yeah, it's pretty fun.
Oh, that is so cool.
I feel
Yeah.
like writing for ADHD people, like, you know, like when you're doing scroll, 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 and then it's encouraging you to just stay there. And
Stay
I
there. Yeah.
I
And
kind of
the
like it.
monsters are basically like, it'll be what made up monster, 100 words in 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Or it might be 1,000 words in 90 minutes, right? And you've got these different, quests you go through and get done.
Ooh, that
Yeah.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's
Christy.
so much fun.
I'm so doing that. Thank you for showing or telling us about that, because that's almost like getting a sticker at school when you were in like elementary for doing something
Yeah.
good.
And it puts
But
it this nice, like, you got a great consecutive. You got this prize, like when you hit your 400 words or whatever a day. Yeah.
oh my gosh, that is so cool. So like that's probably perfect for if you have writer's block, like you're saying, where you just can't like focus.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Okay, that's
Okay,
so
Christy,
cool.
tomorrow I challenge you.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
monsters are you gonna get? That sounds cool. Now, how long do you usually sit to write for? Like,
It depends because I've got the day job, and then
yeah.
the kids come and I have to bring kids to their activities, and so while they're at their activities until the night, like I get a block of about an hour and a half a day, maybe
That's
sometimes
good.
more, sometimes less. But the business of writing, there's also sometimes that gets taken up with, I have to write a blurb and I have to, whatever, post or whatever else.
Send an
So
email, do whatever. Yeah,
yep, yep, yep. So
absolutely. And do you
So are
consider
you
yourself a, oh, I'm sorry.
oh James, because I can read your mind right now. Like, go
Go
ahead.
for it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to ask a different question than what you think, but do you consider yourself a fast writer, or like how many words are you talking about per day if you're sitting down and you're just writing?
Okay, if I am like super into the story and like the words are flowing, I think I did a 13,000 word short story in a single day.
Holy cow.
Yeah, yeah, but it was like, do you ever like get in the zone? And I was there all day. And then I would write on for the words, move over, do some edits, go, write some more, right. And I just ended up, and that one was a little weird even for me, but it was, yeah.
So that I'm assuming that was not an outline story. So are you a
No.
pantser or are you an
Total
outliner?
answer. Total answer. Yeah, no, I started with this idea of this guy telling a fairy tale to a kid, and it ended up in the Relic universe with a separate time dimension that doesn't actually exist in the state time, and they've got guardians and like these houses that change into these old wooden huts, and
Oh my
this kid growing up in that and becoming the next guardian, and
God.
sort of like the cyclical natures of it. So it starts with a kid and it ends with him with another kid, and so it was just this weird, yeah.
I love your brain. Like I love your mind. Like I
I
was
was
like
gonna say
seriously, I was
that.
like reading your the this is the Merge series where was that the one? I think it was the Merge. It's where the very opening chapter where he's in the house and he's going to look at the stars, and all of a sudden it just goes, it just boom, like it just
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, but it's just the best opening chapter ever. I mean, it just got sucked into it. And I'm like, where in the world did you come up with this idea? It's so, it was so
Where do
cool.
you get your ideas?
Yeah.
There's ideas. Okay, so this is, my brain doesn't have a problem with coming up with ideas. Okay, a lot of them suck. Gonna put it out there, like, you're like, oh, we're gonna put, meatballs together with dolls. Yeah, okay, moving on. But I think it's just being open and then trying to figure out, because there was I think I was watching a meteor shower and I thought about, I wonder what would happen if, and I was playing a virtual reality game, the Beat Saber, and I was like, I wonder if they could like get in my mind and make me into a super soldier through this. And then I was right, like, and it just was, I don't know, my brain.
Oh,
So
good.
cool. It was just so cool. I know, I think that's one of the things that I'm most excited about is just being able to delve into your worlds and just, I mean, it's going to be a journey. I know it's going to be a journey, and I'm so excited because I mean, just like Book of Secrets, that's the first one that I was just talking about, just the, like as I said, the opening scene was fabulous. But then again, I'm also like, oh, Half the Cabin, because that's my jam as well. Because I love a mystery, I love witches, and so it's like, oh, there's not enough hours in a day. there really isn't. So
There really
anyway,
is.
yeah, you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. And there's so many great authors out there and so many good books, and everybody
Mhm.
should read more.
Oh, definitely. I think that's one of the things
100%.
that I'm really happy about with the collaboration between us and
Strong Women, Strange
Strong
Worlds.
Women-Strange Worlds. We get to get introduced to new authors. And later on, I know you're definitely going to be reading the a passage from one of your novels. And so I'm really excited about that. And when you create your characters, is it like, are they like something that you're based on reality, or are they someone who are like just total creations, like you just sit down and you start writing and they kind of pop into your head like fully fleshed, like, or are
More
they
the
based on?
second, yeah. Though sometimes like Ravine, who is my favorite bad guy so
Mhm.
far, she lost her daughter and she feels like it's her fault, and then she created, time travel. I mean, as
Oh,
one does. Um and really like getting into her head, she's super scientific, very stiff. She doesn't think she has emotions, but her
okay.
emotions were totally driving her because of her, guilt towards her daughter and what she thought was happening with that. So I'd get into that mindset and start writing Ravine, and then she'd do these awful things that I'd have to back up and be like, "Oh, Ravine, why did you just shoot somebody out of an airlock? That is
Oh
not
my gosh.
the right way to do things."
I
And so they
love
kind of
that.
come. Yeah.
So for, because they're, those are the villain, it's like the villain stories, were they,
That
or are they villains, or are they like on their quest to become villains, or are they fully like?
So I'm kind of I think everybody is gray. I know that sounds kind of so
No.
Ravine isn't, she's the hero of her own story, right? Isn't
Mhm.
that what they always say? And so she doesn't realize that she has become an anti-hero, and she's going down this journey of, being, the research scientist and whatever else, and then going through this mental breakdown and going through this whole where she starts devaluing human life, and has time dilation. So since she's doing almost as fast as light travel, time dilation means that her life happens in a shorter period of time than what happens outside of it. So when she gets back, 100 years has gone past.
Wow.
And so the people she knew are gone, the connection she had, and it disassociates her and makes her, devalue humans and connections and relationships. And
Mm.
so from her, like, she's my truly bad guy in that series. Like, when you look outside and look in and the choices she made, she definitely made some terrible, terrible choices that I do not recommend at home. So don't follow her as a recipe for a good life. But the rest of them are more like people caught in situations where they're considered the bad guy because they're going against the establishment. The rules that that society says you should not do X, and they did X. And
Right.
so, but me looking in, I was like, oh no, you're my hero, dude. Like that, you totally did that X, do X twice.
So for that series, are they standalone books, or are they, you should read the first one and read them in order?
Totally standalone, read them any order you want to.
Okay.
Love that.
Yep. And then they're the books that are going to come afterwards, they're going to be prequels, so you're not going to need to know, what happens there. But sometimes, I don't know if you guys get this too, you kind of have to write that story beforehand sometimes to
Mhm.
to ferret out what actually happens in the current story.
Okay. So in a
Yeah.
way, it's like let's say like an outline of like what, but like a character development, and you know the world, you've kind of got it set. So when you do write the next books, then you already have that already outlined in some ways. Is that?
And this one's weird because the heroes actually come from different planets because it's sci-fi and it's at like the bigger area. So the one comes from Earth, and then they each come from their own planet. Well, actually, I guess two comes from Earth because Mouse actually comes from an underground facility that she's trapped in with her people. Right? The Earth catastrophic failure of the atmosphere, and so they've got these underground tunnels that they all live in. Society's down there, and the bottom one, a bunch of renegades, told everybody they had died, or like made it seem like they died, so they've been isolated from the rest of the underground world. And so she comes from that and goes up through the vents to get um different things from the above world. And so she's like, so they're all different worlds, but then, when they all come together, they meet at prison. So they all end up at the end of those books, end up in prison on a moon planet.
I love how
And
your brain works. It's awesome.
Oh, that's so cool. Like Suicide Squad in some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love anti-heroes. Yeah.
I know.
Oh.
She's more of a hero. Like, I don't know. It's so
Oh.
weird when you look at it with the one angle, like, oh yeah, Ravine. But she's gonna end up saving the world. So then what do you do with that?
Oh wow.
That's all good.
But
All
it's like
good.
that redemption arc. You know?
Yes, exactly. You need some of those. You do. You
Yeah.
do.
You
Where you
do.
see
So
them
when
at the worst, but then they slowly become better. I kind of like those too. Yeah.
those are the greatest stories, absolutely. So when
Oh,
you're
that's
sitting
cool.
down, like I'm a plotter. Like I mean, I would almost say like to the extreme plotter. I will let some stuff happen when, it goes astray, and then I'm like, oh, now I have to redo my whole outline because of this. But I will redo the outline.
Yeah.
But I also know from Angie, and it's fascinating to me that when Angie sits down to write in the morning, she has a vague idea of what's going to happen. Like, is that how, like, when you sit down at your computer in the morning, Claudia, do you know what's going to happen?
Nope, I have no idea. I don't even know what section of the book I'm gonna write on. Sometimes I don't even know what book I'm gonna write on. Like sometimes I
Wait a
just go,
minute, you don't write in order?
no.
Oh wow. See, that's hardcore. Like I at least I like linear, but wow.
But then I'll move it in the thing and then I'll go back to, wait a minute, what am I missing? Oh, wait, they need to meet. Okay, let me write something about them meeting.
Wow, that is so cool.
That is
So then,
so
I mean, I think that
hard.
probably cuts back on writer's block because even though, because like for me, because I'm writing in order, if I'm stuck on a section, I can't move forward to the next section until I figure it out. And
Right.
sometimes it takes days and weeks to figure out this
Figure
particular
out.
plot twist or
Yep.
whatever. But you can just bounce around and just go
Well,
like,
and it's weird because like I bounce around until I get enough scenes and then I put them all in order and then I start at the beginning and then I try and write through.
okay,
Actually, my process.
that is
My plotter
awesome.
heart just skipped a beat. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
I started the book, I had no idea who one of the characters was. I was like, well, they have fire. So how do I introduce? Oh, well, maybe they burn a house down. Okay, well, maybe. I just started. And how do I link this into the world? Oh, he's related to the demons. Okay, well, how did that happen? And then just start.
All right, so I'm a bit of a romantic at heart. And so do you have like romance in your novels or are they more just
I do have some, but I
Mhm.
cannot say that I write the full romance because I don't hit all the beats.
Okay.
So I tried writing a full romance, and what you're talking about earlier, there was an alien invasion that happened, and I'm like, oh, that was supposed to be the meet cute, damn it.
It was a
So
cute meet.
yeah,
It was
there
just
is
with an
some romance.
alien. That's all.
That would be cool.
That's right.
There's usually at least one romantic side plot in the merge series. There's always at least somebody who gets together. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love romance, but I also love like I don't like the romance to be the full plot. I like it to have that outside, story,
Yep.
especially in fantasy. But then like a little bit of oh yeah, they're giving eyes to each other, or
Right.
like that
Right.
kind of
I
there.
love the slow burn too, like
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, yeah, no, I like that for sure.
Oh, he
Well,
saved her, or she saved him, or
well, you just
Right.
gave
they
me a
saved each
heart
other.
attack.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I
Oh,
don't
about
know.
my process? I know, I know. I wish I could. I tried. I have outlined. So I've gone through like outlining process. I took a class in it, did the whole thing, and then that'll be a book I will never write. Like
Oh,
it was dead to me. I'm like, damn it.
because is it like it's almost like it's already written
It's
because you've
already written.
already right, like
Yeah.
there's no point in once you've outlined it, it's
It,
done, like you
it's
already know what
done.
happ's there's no
Yeah.
point in
You guys are
because you're already done.
fascinating.
Yeah, there's no point. And
The
I
journey
did
is
take one outline and then I ended up just like took the first thing and threw everything else away and wrote the book.
that's good.
Yeah.
Then it's like you don't know what's coming. For me it's like I don't know what's coming, and so it makes it more interesting to see where
Yep.
the characters are going to go
Like you
or
Exactly.
don't
even
know how it's
No
going to end.
pressure. Not always. No.
Wow.
but
No.
you said not always, so sometimes do you have an
Sometimes
idea?
the Relic trilogy, I actually had an end scene in mind when I started it, and it was this like view outside of a space station, looking at this time rift in the background with this like chair that Ravine was in, and then I had the whole entire thing, like somehow the glass broke and she ended up in the, you know, like it was very like I had that as sort of like my scenelet. It doesn't happen like that, but that was sort of my driving force for that one, that I had this little like ending snippet for it. Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm just in awe of both of you. Like to me, a pantser is just fascinating, fascinating. But so what do you figure is the hardest part of writing for you? Is it, well, to me, how you write would be like just putting everything together. But do you like the drafting more, or do you like the editing more? What's harder? What's easier?
I've struggled with the editing the most.
Okay.
Obviously, it's hard to change the mindset from just going idea, right? And then going, all right, let's start trimming the bushes and putting the paint on and like, you know, figuring out. So that part is really the hardest. Yeah.
And then you have the developmental editor that helps kind of with that. And so, and then after it's like you've gotten it written, do you have the same editor do like the proofreading, you like the line edits and stuff, or do you have someone else
I
who
have
does
someone
that?
else. Yep. I've tried a couple different editors and I've landed on one that I absolutely adore her. She's like, I don't know about, I always feel like editors sometimes come across like in their little letters, they come across like they're like, seriously, woman, can't you learn grammar? Right? Like, I always
Not
feel like
that hard.
trust, right? And I always take it as a, oh, she must like me because she wants me to be better.
Right. That's a good way of
That's not
taking
where the
it.
comments go, Angie. That's not where they go.
And she's always got these paragraphs about what is it's the that, which, and who. She's like, I don't know what you're doing. Let me write out the rules for you again about that, which, and who. And I'm like, I'll try to remember.
But I won't. So just keep writing it again. That's right. Exactly.
But
Yeah,
I
that's
love
why I'm
her.
not
I
an
love her.
editor.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And
And
so
then have a
since you're,
separate proofreader too. So,
Oh,
and the proofreader, and she's wonderful as well. And she'll like in this last book, she's like, you know, this whole big event happened, and there was this part where there should have been a thank you. Like when she pointed it out, I was like, oh, how did no one notice? You're right. There needs to be a thank you. Like the whole book is like, so I had to rewrite the scene to add in the thank you between the different characters.
oh wow.
So
oh,
yeah.
that's good though that somebody pointed it out because yeah,
Mhm.
no. And it takes, I feel like sometimes you're so close to the story, you'll never see that. You need somebody else from the outside.
Yeah.
Especially since in your head is maybe already done sometimes, or
Yeah.
you know that word that two is there and it's really not there, or the A is there and it's not there. You
Yeah.
know, you need someone to be able to point that kind of stuff out. You so do you upload the book yourself? Like do you do like or do you have someone who does that part?
Nope, I do. I use Vellum and do all of my formatting. I've got a cover designer that I love now. So those
Oh, your covers are amazing.
They are.
I am not an artist at all for that, but she is just amazing. Yeah, at Sunset Rose Books, I think is her email ad or the website for her. But and then yeah, so I do all formatting. I'm wide, so I do it across, you know, all the different vendors and do Ingram
Wow.
Sparks, and I've got my and so like you're talking about those hours, like it's upload day. Okay. And that's what I'm spending my day doing is uploading to the various vendors.
Oh wow. Does it take
Yep.
a long time to do that?
It's not sometimes you'll notice when you go through, because there's always a proofing part where you have to look at the book and you'll notice that, oh crap, it's the wrong bio, or I was in the middle of an edit and I never finished on my back matter, or right. And I don't know how many times I've had it that it's the third vendor I've uploaded it and I looked and went, this is formatted wrong. Okay, let me fix the
Um,
format, recompile, go back to the beginning, upload the whole thing. And
Oh
yeah,
my
so
gosh.
if I was more organized, if I was a plotter for that, then it would probably be.
see, there is room for that. Just
Oh,
kidding.
yeah.
But
It seems like a
so
good.
how, like, I mean, once you have your book completed and you have your cover and you've done everything or whatever, like, are you talking like, does it take you a whole day, a couple of days, like a week to get all that organized so that you can release it eventually?
Maybe a day. I mean, not even a day. It's a day, my day with the number of hours that I have. So say
Okay.
4 hours worth of time, assuming that I
Okay.
didn't do some sort of big goof, which
Got
happens
it.
sometimes. But yeah, it's not the vendors. I haven't done Apple, but the rest of the vendors make it fairly easy to go in, you know, and you've got the same. So I've got a spreadsheet. I love spreadsheets, which is funny with me being a pantser, but it's got like all of the tags, and I've got all of, right, because you have to know the categories and the tags and the blurb. Each vendor has a different length of blurb can be. So I've got 3 different versions of them. I've got my tagline, right? And it's kind of like, all right. And then you click here and click there and upload this and add this over here, add it to the series, right? It's just, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
just,
So was it when you first started uploading, I mean, when you first started publishing your books, was it as easy as you make it sound now? Or
oh, I don't know about you guys, but you see that first program, and I don't know what dope some people are smoking when they design their screens, but like, I can't remember what vendor it is, but there's like, you get to the bottom of the screen and there's like this super secret button up at the top on the left that if you didn't click it, your cover's not on, and then it'll yell at you about metadata. And I'm like, well, where was the metadata? I don't, So I did Sarah Cannon's course. I don't know the Publish and Thrive if you've ever done her course, and that was amazing sauce for helping with which the vendors, and she sort of gave you a preview and she helped kind of walk you through some of the things. And then I used Erin Wright's, she does the paperbacks and the large print, like she's got some different classes for that about Ingram Sparks and how to fill in all of that other data, because she was a librarian. So she understood like those other data so that you're found when people search for you. So maybe they're looking for books in Idaho. If you don't fill that right screen out in the right place, you're not going to get found. So yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are cool.
thank you
Actually,
so
maybe we
much.
can put those two things like at the bottom of our description
Yeah.
for the YouTube video so that to help people
I
out,
took a
because that sounds
lot of
great.
classes. Yeah, I took a lot of classes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was
Yeah.
wondering, because I'm curious, and I think you're one of the, we've had a few other self-publishing authors who have come on, but we never really got to delve into the whole process before. And I've always been curious about, how difficult it is to do that, and where to go to try and find the resources that you need in order to learn how to
Yeah, I'd love to
do
share
it.
some of those. There's definitely some gems out there, and there's lots of resources out there. So as long as the person isn't telling you this is the only way to do it, give it a
Then-
try and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Nice.
think that's
I
one of
like
the fears that a lot of people have about publishing their books. It's just doing it wrong.
Yes.
Yes, but you can hit unpublish like that.
Mhm.
You can do that with an ebook, not so much with the paperback, but that's a whole different thing. But on Amazon, you can hit unpublish and
Okay.
it goes away. So
That's good to know. So if you make a huge mistake, you can still say like, yep, nope, not happening.
Yep.
I like
Yeah.
it. So we always ask all our authors this question, and I absolutely love the answers that we're getting. So I'm going to ask it of you too, Claudia. It's, what's the one thing that you think that you've done as an author or in your authoring career that you think has made the most difference?
Okay, this is going to sound super silly. Like I said, I did a lot of classes, and I stumbled across this this class about your personality type and writing.
Oh.
And so this class, and it's and I will get you the link inside of it, but it really allowed me to embrace it uses the Gallup system, the 36 different things that you've got. But it really helped me figure out that my squirrel moments and basement things, that it's just part of my personality. It's okay that I'm a pantser and that I'm different from other people. It's okay that, I form my writing this way. Like it almost like gave me permission to accept who I was and then just kind of lean into that aspect of it. So I know I'm good at ideas. I know I'm good at brainstorming, editing, right? Like I have to make sure that I've got concrete steps and people to help me with that. But I think that was a great investment and really helped me figure out who I was as a writer and really lean into the things I was good at.
That is so cool. I've never heard of that, but I would love to do that. Like, that's really cool because I agree with you. Like, once you have permission to be who you are, like, hey, all the doors are open at that point, right? That's
Right. Don't
fantastic.
try to be something you're not. I can't be a plotter. It's not going to work for me. And that's okay. And that's the part that's hard sometimes for people, is that's okay. Find what
Mhm.
works.
Yeah, I know. For some reason I always feel like I should be more of a plotter, and I tried and tried for like what, last year?
Yep,
I
you
was
did. You
trying.
tried many different ways.
And then but yeah, I think that it is best just to be who you are, and if it works for you, to just keep on doing what you're doing. And I mean, of course, learning more tips and tricks and having more tools will help you in the long run, but also just to be able to accept who you are. as a writer.
And trying the new things, right? The words work for me because I need to have my ADHD. I need to have my butt in the chair and actually write words in order for it to be able to make it to the next part.
See, and I'm the same because I really like that idea, especially the quest. We're gonna be out there.
We can be friends on there.
I challenge you.
Totally gonna look you up,
duel.
Claudia. We're all gonna be doing little monsters. I love that idea. Because for me, like the hardest part of writing, to be honest, is like sitting down, the initial sit down and open the document and get into that mode. Once you're in the mode, like, I mean, don't even talk to me. I'm going to be writing, but that initial like, and I know that there are some writers who like listen to the same song or, like do a ritual kind of thing. But
I wish I could figure that out. Yeah.
me too. Me too. But I think that having little monsters for like, I mean, that's a reward to me. Like, I mean, awesome. I love that. Very, very cool. Thank you so much for going into everything that you do, the way that you're doing it, and giving us so many good ideas and like websites and people and whatever. Like that's fantastic because I think any writer that's going through this is going to love to be able to like, go to that resource and find a way for themselves to get this done. So totally, totally appreciate it. It's fantastic. Right now, we are going to take it into a different direction and we are going to get to know you better as a person. And I'm going to ask you 10 questions. We call it the speed round, get to know you better questions. Very simple. We just love to hear these answers. So are you ready?
I am.
All right. If you were given the opportunity to fly into space, would you?
Yes. She's like, okay, come on, that question you need to move on with. I would actually. And I know that all the things in the stories that are out there aren't really true for what it is today, but I think that would be exhilarating to experience that at least once.
I would too. Yeah.
I chicken out. Yeah, totally. Number 2, would you rather be able to fly or breathe underwater?
Ooh, I haven't heard that combination before. I think breathe underwater. I used to pretend like I was a mermaid as a kid, so I think the breathing underwater would go into that. So
Wouldn't it be cool? Like I know that everybody talks about space, but like underwater is kind of cool too. Like I mean, I'm sure there's so many things we don't even know, and weird things. So I'm totally with you.
The lack of light, and who knows?
Yeah, totally agree. Number 3, who is your favorite villain of all time?
I like my villains with this is gonna like meat. Like I want them to be like full characters, not look just like a ha 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 ha, right? Like I don't want a Sauron or whatever as my villain because he's kind of like I look like it's evil. Thanks. There was a snippet of a movie that the villain really stuck with me, and I can't even remember who it was, but it was this guy who was pretending to be a this other person. And he ended up falling in love with this guy. So there was this going on with it. And then the guy figured out who he was and he ended up having to kill him. And I just like right? I mean, and that was so horrible. And you could tell it totally tore him up, but he set himself up to have no choice. And so that whole like, oh my God, what do you do? And so protecting himself was more important than the love. And that's what makes him a villain to me.
Oh, yeah.
That's a deep villain. Yeah. No, but for the right reasons, which is what you want from your villain.
Right. Right.
I love it.
Cool.
I like that. I'm going to look that up and try to figure out what movie.
Creep me out. Yeah.
I know what you mean. The next question is, if you could change one thing in your past, would you?
No. I am a firm believer in I am where I am because of the things I experienced, good or bad, and that if you change anything, even the bad things, that you might not end up here. And so to me, I'm like, nope, I'm just going to be where I am right now. And if I want to change things going forward, I will change things going forward.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Do you think you would make a good spy?
Oh my God, no. I've got no I've got no game. You're like, hey, how are you? Oh God, no, I'd be terrible.
Do you want to hear a secret? Yeah, that's what I would be like.
Who am I gonna tell you?
I know something you don't, If you could pick up a new skill in an instant, what would it be?
Oh, okay, this is gonna sound totally silly. I absolutely want to weld some backyard garden like sculptures. I learned
Oh,
how to weld and like do, especially those ones that like move. Like,
Ooh.
how cool would that be?
that would be cool.
Okay, next one. A question just for you. The secret comes out that Bigfoot really exists. Are you surprised?
No. Okay, I've got this whole scientific background. I do believe in science and I do believe in the scientific method and the whole nine yards, and I'm super logical. But we don't know everything, right? And so there's this whole gray area. If you were to go back 100 years ago, the things they thought were magic are like real now based on science. And so it makes me not want to say no to certain things. I'd want proof and I'd want to see what happens, but I can't like totally not believe.
Would you rather go backstage with your favorite band or backstage on your favorite TV show?
I think I'm going to pick my favorite TV show because I think backstage in the band is pretty rowdy.
Yep, I would imagine so. And it would be kind of cool to see like how it all works, like how the studio works and how like the producer says and whatever. Like I think that would be kind of cool. Whereas
Yeah,
like
seeing the
backstage,
set where it's all built, that's
yeah.
cool.
No, I think that
Yeah.
would be cool.
Mhm.
Number 9, we're already at number 9. On a scale of 1 to 10, how adventurous are you with new cuisine?
I was in Manila for 3 months and I would let them, like, they said, hey, let's try this. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm probably an 8 in that setting. But like in normal life, I just like, I have my things I eat and I just eat them and I move on.
But it's
I
kind of
love
cool that
that.
you let them do that. Yeah, because like that's fantastic. And plus,
Mhm.
living there must have been really cool for that amount of time.
Yeah, it was super cool.
And now the last question, which is always super intellectual, but it's a joke. But do you talk to yourself when you're alone?
I do. I talk to myself when I'm not alone. So
It doesn't matter who's surrounding
it
you. You're
doesn't
talking.
matter. You're just like, ooh, that was dumb. Right?
At
Like,
least now you can play it off, pretend like it's your phone, oh, you talk to someone else.
people look at you and you're like, pretend like you have a earpiece in.
Leave your earbuds in all the time just to make
Yep.
sure. But well, thank you so much for answering all those silly questions. We love to hear the answers. So thank you.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Hi, I'm Claudia Blood. This is Feather of Prophecy. The human world and the world of myth have merged. Ordinary individuals must become extraordinary if they hope to save it. A curse, a prophecy, and a witch. What will he sacrifice to free his twin sister? For almost 15 years, Ren has worked to break the curse that haunts his family. The twins and their family meet a fiery death at the age of 30. Ren must embark on a dangerous journey to find the one thing that can save his sister and hopefully discover the reason for the family curse. The only way to break the malediction is to find a bonded witch. But witches are rare, and one's willing to work with a mage even rarer. He soon finds the curse is bigger than his sister, his family, or his people. The very world depends upon his quest, but his enemies are closing in and they have unexpected allies. With only days remaining, will he break the curse or will a betrayal leave the world in flames?
Are you intrigued by her synopsis? Do you want to know more? Go to Strong Women Strange Worlds YouTube channel to listen to Claudia Blood read the first 4 pages of her novel, Feather of Prophecy. What have you been working on next?
I am working on Scales of the Dragon, which is the next book in the series. I got to the end of the book that I was reading, and all of a sudden I had a dragon egg ended up in the previous book, like, total pantser thing. And it's the middle of the next book. So that's what I'm working on.
So where can people find you on social media?
I am at www.claudiablood.com, and that has everything. I'm also trying out Twitter. So I think I'm off Claudia Blood or Claude Blood because they have short names. And I've been hanging out there. And I do have a Facebook group, a readers group, if you guys are interested, and I can send you those links.
Nice. Fantastic.
Thank
Everything will be
you.
in our description on the YouTube podcast. So absolutely.
Yeah. So Claudia Blood, thank you so much for coming on, for being our first guest in the collaboration between Strong Women, Strange Worlds. You've been awesome, and we love your writing. Oh, you're so fabulous. And we just are so excited about this collaboration because we get to have more authors like you come on and share their stories. If you watch this on Strong Women, Strange Worlds, please hop over to Angie and Christie right now, and then you can hear Claudia's answer to our 10 speed round questions. If you watch this on Angie and Christie right now, please hop over to Strong Women, Strange Worlds, where you can hear her read the first 4 pages of her novel, Feather of Prophecy. As always,
Totally worth it. Do that.
It really is. It's so good. So we just want to thank you all for joining us. If you enjoyed these videos, please like and subscribe to our channel. Also, head over to Strong Women, Strange Worlds, like and subscribe to their channel so that you can get notified whenever we have our collaboration videos or whenever any of us post any of our videos online. And we want to thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you so much. Thank you, Claudia.
Claudia.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.